episodes.
This is Doug Edwards with Youth Worker on Fire. Anything else that you want to tell us that's just been on your heart to tell youth workers nationwide, worldwide, locally?
Hangeth thou in there. It's not always an easy task to work with youth, and I know as we get closer to end times, we all know is probably coming. We're going to see more and more of that, but just be patient with them and look at their background. I came from an alcoholic family. I had a whole bunch of baggage to bring along into the church. People were patient with me, and I didn't have to have all the answers because people were willing to answer my questions. Just be patient. All kids have something that you can offer them, and the number one thing is to love them. If you love them, they'll respond to that. And I think that was my only success, is that I listened to the Lord when it came to that, was to love the kids for who they were and not expect them to be like my kids or your kids or the kid next door. And some of them had some pretty horrific backgrounds, I found out later, and it was because I was more patient with them that I even had a chance to help them with that. They
start opening up when they find out that you're not going anywhere. Tell us about long-term, how can they last with board members, Jim? You've been on a lot of boards. You've been on boards with me and all kinds of things. If they're not lasting more than 5 years, 5 years is what it takes. Youth for Christ told us that, just to find out what your ministry's doing. It's 5 years. You can try to make it happen faster, but it will not. You can do a lot of things, bring in a lot of students, but if you're not there more than 5 years, you're not really making an impact on the community. But part of that is boards. How do they keep the boards from wanting to get rid of them? How do you tell church boards how to hire? I think they hire wrongly in a lot of places. They don't know what they're looking for. But tell me what your perspective is on all that for youth guys.
Well, one thing I want to share is the three things that Billy Graham always said were the most important thing, and that is 1, pray, 2, pray, and 3, pray.
Yes.
All the time pray. And with the boards and with the people that are seeking to become youth workers, prayer is very, very essential. You must pray. It's a personal relationship with Jesus Christ that we're talking about. It's not just do this and everything is going to work out perfect. Yeah, there's a lot of board members that have no clue how to hire a youth worker. I can remember in the old days, some of the ideas of the board was, well, we're going to hire this youth worker and he can lead the choir and he can, be the janitor, and we'll pay him $20,000 a year. I mean, that's what they used to think. But if you really care about your youth, you're going to find that person who's going to stay and who's going to be there for the kid long term, because they don't build a relationship in 1 year or 3 years. A relationship is something that is earned, and the youth pass that on. Even though they're 4 years of high school, the people behind them are seeing that this is a commitment and that this is a dedication to them.
Pat, what do you have to say about any of that?
I'd agree with that 100%, and I think the idea that we second guess what a youth pastor is that we don't realize that they really are the segment of the church that makes a church work. If we don't have good, strong family units in a church, normally it does eventually die out. If you don't have your kids making an impact on their schools and their communities, your county, your state, you're going to find that you're going to suffer too, even as business people or as lay people. So the youth is critical to any church. And if you're just circumventing it and saying, oh, we'll just hire this guy to take them on a camp or to go down the street and have fun at the local amusement park, that isn't going to do it. You have to have a good, solid discipleship program that develops your leaders, that allows those kids to go into their communities and to the schools and to draw people to the youth group and to help draw people and help them to receive Christ as their Savior. That's the bottom line to me.
I want you to tell us something that you and I talked about. Everybody in the world, let's say in the United States, is dealing with some kind of weight issue or food issue. Tell us what you just told me today, what you went through, and the program that you're using. This is significant. I've dealt with a lot of youth workers that are dealing with weight issues, with food issues, with health issues.
My journey has been up and down weight from the time I was a child, and some of it was emotional eating because I came from this alcoholic family that God placed me in, and also just my own self-esteem issues. And I went to several different programs and would lose weight, gain it back, lose weight, gain it back. But most recently, I've been connected with a group of Christian ladies that had great success with a program that's called Habits of Health. And it is more than just weight loss. It is body, mind, and spirit. And it was started by a gentleman that is a Christian, and they don't call themselves a Christian organization because they want to meet people's needs in any religious background or any nationality. So they basically left that as their testimony is that they are Christian. And they have developed this food plan that I've been on for about 8 months, and I've been successful as far as losing 60 pounds. But more than that, it has helped me to be in connection with the Lord's help about, my body, what it needs, exercise, movement, not necessarily hardcore, but just to keep your body in limber shape, especially as you get older. And also I was been able to give up metformin because I was pre-diabetic, and I've been able to give up cholesterol medicine that I was on for almost 30 years. And it's a basic food plan that I found success with. And I'm in a transition now. I'm adding some things back and trying to keep the weight at a decent amount for my height and my age. And the long and short of it is it's a long-term commitment that I've made to stay healthy. And at my age, that's very important, but at any age. And it also has helped boost my morale and my self-esteem, especially during the COVID. That would have been a very difficult thing otherwise, but it was something I was able to just hold on to with some help. I have a coach that helps me along the way that really is another good Christian believer that has helped me. So I appreciate the chance to share that. Thank you.
Yeah, and coaching is a big thing, isn't it?
It is.
I try to avoid coaching, but I know that coaching, I always do better when I get some kind of coach or someone that's outside just my friend group or something that's their purpose is there to coach and to get me to a level. And so good for you and good to hear that. Did you say how they can get in touch with that program?
It's something that they could call me about because the way we like to approach it is that my coach would set up a Zoom call and they could ask questions that way, because otherwise the website's a little intimidating because there's so much information out there on it.
Yes, I get that.
It's good, but it's more of a process of, just take the first step and get the information and decide if you want to go further with it.
That's great. Pat, thank you.
Thank
Jim.
you.
Jim standing over to the side. Thank you, bud. Appreciate it. And Youth Worker Nation, you know how to get in touch with them. You can see that in the show notes on YouTube in particularly. So you get in touch with us. So you know how to get in with Youth Worker on Fire. You can catch us on social media. And so also youthworkeronfire@gmail.com. Youthworkeronfire@gmail.com. And on Patreon, you can support us and go that way. All right, Youth Workers, we're out. Adios. Have a great evening, morning, night, wherever you are.
You've been listening to the Youth Worker on Fire podcast. If you like what you hear, please subscribe and tell your friends. Also, leave a comment and tell us what you think. Stay tuned for more informative episodes.
Fire. This is Doug Edwards with Youth Worker on Fire.